Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Gaynor. I am the community manager for SocialBizUG.org, and I have, with great pleasure, our member of the month, Mr. Norman Cox. Norman, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So what we do for these, we have 5 questions that we ask. So the first one is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Who do you work for? Maybe any hobbies that you might have.
Okay, well, that might take a little bit, but
that's quite all right.
Now, hey, well, my name's Norman Cox, and I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I live in Columbia, Missouri. We are just halfway between St. Louis and Kansas City on I-70, and I work for Shelter Insurance. It's a mutual insurance company. We write in about 15 states, and we do mostly personal lines. But the easiest way to say it is we're a scaled-down version of State Farm, and we do auto, life, and home, and that sort of thing. We've got about 1,000 employees at our home office, and we've got 1,000 that are scattered out in branch offices and that are in their homes, and then on top of that we probably have about 800 agents, and so that's a full-time job keeping things up and going as far as email goes. And I'm a email administrator. Our agents are on Office 365, but then all of our employees are on Lotus Notes, so, and have been for about 12 years now. As far as hobbies go, I like to do everything that's outside pretty much. I like to run, I like to hike and fish and bicycle, and spare time I coach Pee-wee soccer. And
oh, cool.
Like I said, I've got 3 kids. My youngest, she's 7 years old, and then I've got another daughter that's almost 15. She'll be getting her permit next month, so a few more gray hairs are spread out here in a little bit. And then my oldest is 20 years old. He's a sophomore at the university here in Columbia, the University of Missouri, and so between all that keeps me fairly busy.
I would say so. Okay, now in your blog post, Spreading the Good News about Managed Mail Replicas, you talk about the benefits of MMR. Now, this blog post, I have to say, it's really great, it's very detailed, and I highly recommend that everybody give it a read. In the meantime, would you mind giving us just a brief explanation of what MMR is and how to use it?
Well, Managed Mail Replica is kind of a upgrade of the local replica that's been around for a long time. The local replica, it was, so we've had it for, I can't remember which version it started in, but it's been around, but it had its drawbacks. One of the main drawbacks was that it worked off time replication, or scheduled replication. And so somebody would send a message, and then depending on when the schedule was happening again, it might be a few minutes before it actually got sent. With MMR, Managed Mail Replica, it's more instantaneous, at least from the user's perspective. As soon as a new email is either sent or received, then right away the replication's kicked off. And from the user's perspective, it's a lot less overhead, and everything's happening behind the scenes. So they think things are happening faster. It's happening at the same speed, but just everything happens behind the scenes for them.
I see. All right. Okay, I lied. I'm going to have to ask a follow-up on that.
Sure.
So when, I just want to make sure I understand. So as soon as a user sends an email, it instantly makes the replica?
Right, yeah. As soon as, and it's on both ends, as soon as they receive an email at the server or they send an email, the replication's kicked off automatically. The only time delay, if there's a huge attachment, it might take a little bit for it to upload to the server copy and be sent out. But there's no, well, let me back up a little bit. There is some scheduled replication that happens, but that's for other features like unread marks, and there's a few other things that are scheduled. But the sending and receiving email, which is the key feature, that happens automatically.
Gotcha. Okay, then what benefits does the user experience? What about admins, and how is this useful to them?
Well, the main issue we were seeing before, or one main issue we were seeing, is a lot of people were complaining that Notes was slow. And what we found was Notes was the symptom, but not the cause of it. But it was getting blamed for it because that's what the user would see. And, you know, like I said, we have users that are out in their homes, and they might have slow, whatever provider they have at their homes is what we're stuck with. And even in our branches, there's ups and downs with bandwidth, and then also there's other software that some of the users might be using on their machines. We've got one product that our claims folks uses that's quite a resource hog, and so it's hogging the resources, and Notes can't do what it needs to do. And so, but from the user's side, all they know is their email is slow, that Lotus Notes is slow.
Right.
So we enabled MMR all across the company, and what it does is it's doing its work behind the scenes instead of having to, every time they click on an email, going and grabbing that email from the server and bringing it back down, and that wait time that you can't control. It has it all on the local replica, so when they click, in their mind, it's happening faster because it's going to their local copy on their machine, and it comes up a lot quicker. In reality, it happened really in about the same amount of time, but all the work was done behind the scenes while they were doing their work. It was downloading the email, and then when they got the notification they had new email, it was right there on the local copy, and so
got it.
Magically, it's happening faster. I did have, just a quick story, I did have one user when I put her on the pilot, and all of a sudden everything is happening much faster. She did offer to name her first child after me. Then she admitted that her first child was about 24 years old, so he probably wouldn't go for the name change, but the offer was made. So, but that's, these people that were working out of their homes and having to click and wait, it was just a lot of frustration, and a lot of that frustration was relieved with managed mail replicas, so they can move on to the next frustrating thing that they got to deal with.
All right, now, reading through your blogs, I've noticed several times that you mention your service in the military, which we do thank you for that.
Oh, thanks.
But I can't imagine the military being like a training ground for Lotus Notes. How did you get into Notes and being an admin in general?
Well, could be a long story. I'll try not to make it too long, but when I got out of the Army, I went back to school and finished up my degree, and I got hired on by another company to be a COBOL programmer and to do Y2K work for them to help convert their systems over to be Y2K. I'm stuck on my word here. Y2K compliant.
Right.
And then after working there a couple of years, I got hired on by Shelter Insurance, and actually I got hired on by them to be a COBOL programmer as well for a product called Huon, which was an IBM product that we were the beta testers, and that was going to be the end-all be-all package software for insurance companies, but fortunately never made it out of beta. And so after about 2 years at Shelter, 1 or 2 years, they let go of that product. I was without a product, or without a purpose, I guess, and so I got moved over to the Office Systems group, which was the mainframe application that IBM had for email, and that's what we had at that time. And this was around 2000, and then we were moving into Lotus Notes, and so I just made my way over there. And for a while there, I wore 2 hats. I was a developer and an admin, but then about 4 or 5 years ago, I transitioned to just a one role as an administrator.
Do you miss the developing?
there's some aspects I do, and I still, find ways to use or do developing as well. But I've definitely lost some of those skills. It's like a foreign language. When you don't use it constantly, it evaporates. But
it does indeed.
Right. So, but there's a lot of aspects of it that I do miss. But there's definitely aspects of the administration side that I enjoy as well.
All right, and now we come to what I consider the most important question.
Right.
What's your favorite movie and why?
Well, that's a loaded question too, because one of my first jobs out of high school was at a video store. So I saw a bunch of bad movies and a bunch of good movies. And then with my 8-year-old, a lot of my or 7-year-old, sorry, she'll get me for that. My 7-year-old, I get to see a lot of animated features still, and so it kind of depends on what area we're talking about. But as far as a movie I like to watch over and over again, that would probably be Cool Hand Luke, which is a little bit before my time, but I think I got to see it in a high school English class, and since then I've worn out 2 or 3 copies of it, I think. And the reason why, and it's just a classic movie, of course, but I know when I saw it in high school, it was probably what I call my misfit time, social misfit time, and probably identified with the character quite a bit. And then it just, I guess, just a movie I just really enjoyed overall.
I couldn't agree with you more. That is an awesome movie. All right, Norman, that's all the time we have now. I do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And for all of our listeners, please take a look at Norman's blog. It's really good. So, Norman, please take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.